Especially to the five chapters which describe the Lord's rasa
Rasa
dance.
dance. This is some people, rascals kind of people. They think that the rasa dance is just like human being kind of rasa dance. They cannot understand. We cannot understand even those who don't be practice devotion. Also, it's not so easy to understand rasa dance because it is highly and transcendental platform. You cannot imagine what is exactly that. Okay. For example, if you take example, Kubja. You know Kubja, right? Kubja invited to her house. When Lord Krishna put his legs on the chest of the Kubja, her desires completely lust, everything destroyed. She became pure. She become pure, become a devotee of Lord Krishna, desireless. So that's the power of Lord Sri Krishna. Next to the portion, this portion.
This portion of the Srimad Bhagavatam is the most confidential part of this great literature.
Yeah, what is that? This portion means here?
This is five chapters of 10th.
Yeah, so 10th canto and 5 chapters. Right, next.
Unless one is truly thoroughly accomplished in the transcendental knowledge of the Lord, one is sure to misunderstand the Lord's worshipable transcendental pastimes called rasa dance and his love affairs with the gopis.
Yeah, so if you cannot read systematically from first canto to ninth, that also with submissive mode, you cannot understand rasa dance as it is, and also it is said surely he will be misunderstanding the transcendental pastimes. When misunderstanding starts, what will happen? What will happen? He will be offended. He will be under offense. So he will go to hell. So that's why even practitioner devotees also, we should not read rasa dance. We also should not read. Even if you read Bhagavatam, Sri Krishna Deva book, right? The rasa dance we should not read. Remember this, okay? We should skip those chapters and go further. Okay? That can be read only once we become very very. We can understand actually when we can read. We need not even say how our stage of understanding of Lord Krishna. See, for example, did we cross very basic sense gratificatory activities?
No.
Very basic. We cannot control eating, we cannot control sleeping. Our chanting is not on the good level. We cannot hear chanting properly. We don't have good 100% perfect service attitude. We can cross enviousness. Very basic things we didn't cross. We didn't cross Kanishta to Madhyama. So we cannot understand so easily. We will definitely commit offense. Right. So even we being practitioners, so should not read. What to speak of, stubborn atheists and so-called normal, karmis. Yeah, this subject matter.
This subject matter is highly spiritual, and only the liberated persons who have gradually attained to the stage of Paramahamsa can transcendentally relish this
Yeah,
rasa dance.
see, if you are reading means you are thinking that you are Paramahamsa. Right? Only Paramahamsa stage, those liberated persons. Are we liberated? We are eating still, we cannot control the senses, we have the mind of sense enjoyment still, many deficiencies. We are not at all liberated. Those who are liberated, who reach the stage of Paramahamsas, and they can release the rasa dance, they can read, they can have the transcendental joy. Next.
Srila Vyasadeva therefore gives the reader the chance to gradually develop spiritual realization before actually relishing the essence of the pastimes of the Lord.
So, what is the meaning here? Vyasadeva has given chance to the people who are having interest to have their spiritual advancement, so they can gradually read the all the creation and the devotees, pastimes, many things. After that, you can understand Lord easily, and rasa dance also we can little understand. Still, there is a risky if when we are if even if you feel Paramahamsa, or if you feel that you have crossed some stages, if you are started reading, if you feel something negative thoughts are coming in the mind, immediately you should stop. That's what the advice from Srila Prabhupada. Next.
Therefore, he purposely invokes a Gayatri mantra, Dhimahi. This Gayatri mantra is meant for spiritually advanced people.
So in the first sloka, last word is there, right? Dhimahi. So that's why they have included Dhimahi word, which is a Gayatri part. That Gayatri is for those who are highly advanced in the spiritual. Next.
When one is successful in chanting the Gayatri mantra, he can enter into the transcendental position of the Lord. One must therefore acquire Brahmanical qualities or be perfectly situated in the quality of goodness in order to chant the Gayatri mantra successfully and then attain to the stage of transcendentally realizing the Lord, His name, His fame, His qualities, and so on.
So here the main key point here is talking about the Gayatri mantra. Okay, Gayatri mantra is for whom?
Spiritually
spiritually elevated into the higher level. Those who are okay. So that means taking a Brahmana Diksha, perfectly chanting Gayatri mantra, is a very important part of the life. So this is what here explained, the very importance of Gayatri mantra. And anything missing here in this point? Yeah. So then only we can understand nicely, successfully about the Lord, His name, fame, qualities, and so on, all the pastimes. Okay, we have time. Yeah, one pair we can finish it. Yeah.
Srimad Bhagavatam is the narration of the Swarupa of the Lord, manifested by His internal potency. And this potency is distinguished from the external potency which has manifested the cosmic world, which is within our experience.
Yeah, it is little tricky, it says. Let me read once again. So this Srimad Bhagavatam is narration of the Swarupa of the Lord. Narration of the Swarupa of the Lord means this Srimad Bhagavatam explains about the Lord Swarupa. Lord has some kind of transcendental form, right? That transcendental Swarupa. That is what? Sri Krishna. It is explained by whom? His internal potency.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what this is understanding. Okay? Come on. And this potency is distinguished from the external potency. We should break here. Means there are two energies, internal and external. Pleasure potency and Maya. No, this Bhagavatam is explaining two kinds of potencies, means Maya. But internal is Ramati Radharani, external is Durga. Okay? Which has manifested the cosmic world. Okay? External world, right. Which is within our experience. What? Which is within our experience? Which we can see, right? So till this point what we understand? This Bhagavatam explains about the Swarupa of the Lord, number one. And this Bhagavatam explains and distinguishes the internal and external energy and potency. That external potency is the reason for the cosmic manifestation which you can see with them. These are two separate. That is the meaning here. Okay. Next.
Srila Vyasadeva makes a clear distinction between the two two in the sloka.
So between these two means two potencies. Right.
Sri Vyasadeva says
Herein
herein that the manifested internal potency is real, whereas the external manifested energy in the form of material existence is only temporary and illusory, like the mirage in the desert.
Right. So it is a because externally is a temporary, which creates and all these cosmic money, cosmic inverse manifest, and after that it will just destroy everything, disappear, just like mirage in the desert. What is the mirage? The endamaval. We call this endamaval. Desert means right? Only sand, no water. When you are walking at the desert, in the long place, you can see some water is going, evaporating. Oh, water. This camel will move. Okay, there is some water, let's go. There is some water, let's go. It walks 100 kilometers, no water. Actually, that mirage is it's a kind of illusion, right? In the same way, this external energy is like that. It is clearly distinguished in this Bhagavatam by Srila Vyasadeva. That's what it is. Next.
In the desert, mirage, there is no actual water.
Yeah. Next.
There is only the appearance of water real. Water is somewhere else.
Water is somewhere, but we are thinking here is the water. Just like we are thinking, we can enjoy, we are enjoying here, there only we can permanently enjoy. Are we enjoy? No. Is it permanent here? We have a limit of, one day everybody will die, but we are thinking that this is the only happiness. Yeah, this is the only happiness. I can eat and enjoy, I can mate, I can go out, I can earn, I can go and drive, enjoy. No, all this will end one day. It is not permanent. The actual happiness is where? The Vaikuntha, which is a permanent, without any pain. Next.
The manifested cosmic creation appears as reality, but reality of which this is but a shadow.
Shadow. See.
Is in the spiritual
Your one person is there, you are a one shadow. If I give some food to your shadow, will it be enjoyed? We are enjoying like that. This world is a shadow of spiritual world. We are thinking that we are permanent. Next.
Absolute truth is in the spiritual sky, not the material sky. In the material sky, everything is relative truth. That is to say, one truth depends on something else.
Yeah. So do you understand something on this? Absolute truth, relative truth. Relative truth means the truth of the relative truth depends on the other truth. I will give an example. Your shadow is there. That shadow dependent on whom?
Me.
If you are not there, will that shadow be there? No. That means you are absolute, a person, example. Your shadow is relative. You understand? This spiritual world is relative truth. But this is dependent on absolute truth. If that is not there, this is not there. This is a temporary. If you move from here, your shadow also will disappear like this. Next. This cosmic creation.
This cosmic creation results from interaction of the three modes of nature, and the temporary manifestations are so created as to present an illusion of reality to the bewildered mind of the conditioned soul, who appears in so many species of life, including the higher demigods like Brahma, Indra, Chandra, and so on.
Yeah, so this cosmic manifestation happens with the interaction of three modes of nature. What is the three modes means? Three guna.
Yes.
Yeah?
Sattva, Rajas, Tamas.
Right. So those three modes, because of in contact with that, is temporary manifestation of cosmic world come into picture. And all are subject to this one. Who is that? Demigods like Brahma, Indra, Chandra, and all are conditioned soul and species of life. And there is next.
In actuality, there is no reality in the manifested world.
Right. So there is no reality. Means everything is a illusion. We are thinking, this body is, myself. Next.
There appears to be reality. However, because of the true reality which exists in the spiritual world, where the personality of Godhead eternally exists with his transcendental paraphernalia.
This is again referring to relative and absolute. Relative truth is dependent on what? Absolute.
Absolute.
So, in the same way, our current material world, which we can see with our basic eyes, naked eyes, depends on the absolute truth. This establishes that this what is a stubborn atheist think that this is independent, which we see everything is true. This is my permanent, and some people will say after that nothing will be there. They don't know that there is a soul. I am not this body. All these things. That is a very next tomorrow we'll start from the chief engineer. Okay, starting what is chief engineer. Okay, October 27. So we have completed home class till paraphernalia. We'll start from tomorrow the chief engineer. Okay. जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। कोटि वैष्णव की जय।